This is a photograph of a bench that I took at my mother's house, and she has several of these benches. I've actually given them to her because I really like this design in here. And so I have drawn out that design, and I'm going to approach this picture with direct painting, and that's again not the method I'm most comfortable with, but I think it has some advantages in that I'll be able to just use a marker and go whoosh and get those nice little shapes, as well as the ability to kind of dapple in the white and green. So we're going to start with the area behind the bench, and then work out. My thought here is to just start dabbing in some marker color, and then maybe in time use the brush to blend it a little bit. Trying to find the sweep of the white azaleas back here. And I'll come down here. I have several different green markers that I'll just kind of add in. Plus, I think there's some kind of brown dead leaves in there too. And I'll just kind of continue around with this same green marker. And somewhere in here there's some red flowers. I'll just kind of assume they're in that area. And then add more green leaves over here. But I'm going to stop there with the green. This is a very dark gray, and I'm going to use it for the parts of the bench that are the darkest. This is a slightly lighter gray. And I think I'll use this to color over the pencil lines. The bench actually has like a kind of a brown patina to it. So we might be adding in some of that color. This will be a good one to start with. And I took my time in the drawing phase to actually figure out all these lines. Paper this direction. I'm going to use the same gray for some of the front slats. It's easier for me to draw straight lines this way. As I mentioned, there's some other colors in here. And I'll add them in later. And this should be even a lighter shade. Actually fairly similar. So now that we have the first part of the bench in, I'm going to add some more green, and this is a darker green. It's kind of a tan color, and I'm going to use it to kind of add in some of the leaves that are on the ground here. And I'm also going to use it to kind of tap in some of the color on the bench. I'm going to add some of this red. I think that it might mimic this brick color. This marker is on its way out, so I'm going to have to use the brush and kind of go through it that way. Start with this cotton swab. Use the cotton swab and kind of go through the leaves a little bit and soften them. I'm going to try to stay away from the bench. And the last bit of softening through. This is where the white azaleas are. So we want to kind of soften but not go into where the white flowers are. I'm going to add the red flowers. And I think I'll go back. I'm trying to figure out how much of this I want to do. I think this is the first green. I'll just work my way over a little bit more, I think. I have some azalea shape going up through this way. And some of the darker green. And some more softening of this green. And a little bit of softening on the reds. Yeah, we'll poke some green in here a little. So I think I want to continue this sidewalk up a little bit. I'm going to soften this by just running a bead of alcohol along it. Anyway, I'll let it dry this way. Now that we've softened the brick area, I want to put in this shadow, I think, but I want to also get rid of these lines. So I want to see how much of them I can erase. Now that they're sort of erased, I'm going to try this very pale gray marker. I think I might need to have it a little bit darker than that. Well, maybe not. I really just want the suggestion of a shadow. There's another. Even though the picture of the shadow, this line is really the shadow of the brick edge, I'm regretting having put that in there. Let's see if I can slightly remove it. We're, I think at this point, going for a kind of vignette look. We need it to stay pretty loose. And I'm in a position where I want to just add some more tightening to the bench, but I don't want to add too much. This is a dark marker, and I think I just want to tag a few of these filigree items just to add some variation. And I'll also probably do a little bit of lightening on them as well, also for the variation. Looks like I might be doing really all of them. But at least not all of them. And looking at the picture, I can see where my initial drawing did not accurately reflect this pattern. But at this point, we'll not worry about that. I think there's a couple of darker touches through here. At this point, I'd like to use the pointy swab and the alcohol and just do a little softening and lightening on the bench. This is really just the ink that was pulled off on the cotton swab. And this is the micron pen. And just a tinier bit of touch up here. I think I'd like it to read as just a little bit more gray than brown. And I think I'd like to add some foliage over this part. Not really quite sure where the legs of the bench end. We can kind of mask it and not worry about it. Not mask it, but obscure it. So even though it's a vignette and it's made to look kind of loose, there are a couple things I wanted to do. One is that this actual centerpiece is a heart, and I kind of wanted to show that. So I'm lifting out kind of that heart area, and I'm going to draw it back in, but I'm going to use the pen. And the other issue is somehow this shadow looks very messy. I don't know if I'm making it worse or better. It's one of those things that doesn't look that bad in person, but in the photograph it kind of looks awful. But we'll see. I think I'm going to just add some texture through here with this kind of fat end of a kind of a pale pink marker. It's kind of brick-like. Let's see if that, well, I don't think that helps at all. Now we've got a bunch of blobs. Alright, so now we've gone down the rabbit hole of trying to make something better, and it just makes everything worse. This is a cotton swab, and I think it's actually blending solution. It was closer than my alcohol. I'm just trying to obfuscate some of these blobs. So another little touch up. So I want to soften this line. I'm going to add some leaves over here. And just kind of soften them. And a few more of the darker ones. Since this is kind of in shadow. So I think this is it.